Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary. Ah!
2 hours later.
Happy anniversary. Welcome to Artfully Sew, where we get creative with our sewing, quilting, and upcycling projects. Today is our anniversary show. Today we're celebrating 1 year of Artfully Sew videos. We're going to look back at the past year and feature 6 of my favorite projects that we did here at Artfully Sew. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you a project that I've been wanting to finish since the beginning of these videos. Also, I'm going to talk about what's coming in the next year. As I feature each project, there will be a card up in the corner that you can click on to watch the whole video if you want to see the complete project. What I would suggest is watch the video all the way through and then go back and watch those specific videos so that you don't miss anything in this video. So let's get started. In the past, I have added things to jean jackets to kind of make them unique and to make them your own. Chad had seen this jacket that I had made, and he thought maybe I could help him out with his project. He had a coffee burlap sack that he wanted to put on the back of this jacket that he had bought. Burlap is pretty difficult to work with, but I was willing to give it a try. Once I got the exact shape, I stabilized the burlap sack and sewed it to the back of the jacket. Chad really loved it. And all I did was sew around the edge of the jacket to secure it. Then, a few days later, Chad came back and showed me that the seam had kind of ripped out. I had to use my sewing machine to stabilize it further by using the darning stitch on my sewing machine. You can do this by dropping the feed dogs so that you can move your fabric around in any direction. This is what it looks like from the back side. As you can see, I had to really get in there with my stitching to make it stay. In the end, it turned out beautifully, and Chad was really happy with it. What do you do with jeans that have holes in them? Well, you can make a patch. Since my favorite color is red, I took my red scraps, cut them into strips, sewed those strips together, recut them, and made this fun, patchy patch. Then I attached it to my jeans by sewing it by hand and doing a little bit of fancy stitching around it to add some extra texture to it. Now I can still wear my favorite jeans and kind of have my own fashion statement, which is really fun. For this project, I was gifted a pair of boho hippie pants from a former student of mine. They were way too big and there was a big hole in the back. What I really liked about these pants is that they were reversible, so I had lots of different fabric choices to work with. I took a look at Pinterest and brainstormed some ideas of what I could make, so I decided to try to make a pair of bib overalls. I did a lot of serging and cutting. Since the pants were so baggy, I had extra pieces to make the bib top, and I ended up using the waistband for the strap for the bibs. They turned out surprisingly well. Absolutely love them. One of my first videos was a thrift store find where I featured this tablecloth that I had bought. It had cross-stitch butterflies and flowers on it, and it was beautiful. So I knew that I really wanted to make a top out of it. Since 2 of my very good friends were coming to visit the next weekend, I decided to also make them a couple of tops. For their tops, I went through my linens dresser and auditioned some different types of linens that I could use for their tops. The results were really fun. We ended up having 3 shirts that were very unique, but they kind of matched too, just like our personalities. I just loved giving them to Ruth and Allie, and we had such a blast posing for these goofy pictures too. Time I had wanted to make a coat out of a quilt, but before I dove into that project, I wanted to do some practicing. I found this old coat at a thrift store that I wanted to use as a pattern. I also found this polyester quilt for $1. As I took off the ties and opened up the binding, I found a surprise inside. There was a flannel blanket that was used as the batting, and I decided I was going to use it for the sleeves of the coat. My daughter Nora fell in love with the coat, so I decided to give it to her. It looked so cute on her, perfect for her personality, and I even made a hood to go with. This last project is probably my favorite project I made this year. Since I had so much fun making the quilt coat for Nora, I wanted to make one for myself. So I started with that blanket coat that I used for the other coat, but instead of using a quilt that I had or that I bought, I wanted to make my own quilt. To start with, I took this vintage sheet that had these gold and yellow colors in it. I got out a color tool. This color tool helped me match scraps from my stash that I could use for the top of the coat. I took those scraps, cut them up into pieces. I quilted it myself on my Gamble quilting machine, but this project is small enough that you could quilt it on a regular domestic machine. Since I wanted to add a complementary collar, I took my blue scraps and made my own chenille. I still needed to find something for the collar, so I took my practice piece to the thrift store and found a scarf that matched pretty much perfectly. The scarf didn't end up working for the collar, but I cut the scarf into strips and used it as the binding for the coat to pull it all together. The results were super cute. Absolutely love this coat. Like I said, my favorite project that I made this year. That Scrappy quilt coat may have been my favorite project, but I still haven't done anything with that fur coat. For those of you who have been with me the whole year, you probably remember that fur coat that I bought at the thrift store. The only thing that needed to be fixed on it were adding some buttons.
Now, button, who's got the button?
One of my other guilty pleasure collections are buttons. I love to collect buttons, all different kinds. I even have friends that give me buttons because they know that I like to collect them. So for this fur coat, I went through and I just grabbed some different choices. Here are some of the choices that I played around with. Would you like to see the results? Take a look. Well, I finally got it finished. These buttons aren't like the perfect buttons in my mind. I also think I put this one up a little too high. But they are the perfect buttons from my collection. It's kind of funny that the easiest project took me the longest to do. I put on the buttons just in the nick of time because we're wrapping back up into the winter season. So I'm looking forward to hunkering down with this coat in these cold Wisconsin days. Well, looking forward to next year. I'm planning that zipper flower pin brooch project that some of you had requested. So that's in the works, as well as a tutorial on how to make Mrs. Woodwire. Another thing I'd really like to try is to make a quilt coat for a guy. I have a guy in mind. His name is Captain Pete. projects would you like to see in the future? Is there something that you're dying to make that you want help or ideas for? Let me know in the comments below. My biggest hope for this past year is that you learned how to be brave, to let yourself make mistakes, and to just keep sewing. If you've learned something this year and you want to show me some thanks, feel free to click the link below and make a donation to this channel to keep me going. Well, see you next time. And remember, you can artfully sew. Bye. Here we go. But you can quilt. This project is, but this. And some of the projects I have, and I made them last longer. I can't speak. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Sam, I'm ready to call it a day. How about you? Yeah. Kind of match that quilt back there.